Hey guys, welcome back to episode 94 and another edition of the Growth Series here on Builder Funnel Radio. Now, today I want to dive into something because I just recently had a conversation with a couple of different people and learned something that really surprised me. It shocked me, and then I got pretty, I don't know, frustrated, I guess, or I guess I just feel a lot differently. And so I wanted to bring this up, share it with you guys. I also want to hear what you think, how your approach to this, what your approach is. And so having this conversation, basically what I uncovered was that I guess in some circles, in some like remodeling circles or building circles, spending 0% or close to 0% of your overall budget on marketing is, I guess, seen as kind of this badge of honor. So if you think about your P&L, you're looking at, okay, I've got my cost of goods and I've got my overhead and I've got these different categories for my expenses. Well, apparently if you're spending, 0% of revenue or very close to that on marketing, that means you're doing everything right. You're getting all of your business from word of mouth and referral, and you don't need to advertise. Now, on the surface, that may sound like a really good thing. And so you're going, well, gosh, I don't need to spend this money, so I can just, operate without it. And so in theory, that's more money to the owner. What I would imagine is actually happening is that you're creating your financial budget around a 0% marketing expenditure, but those costs are going somewhere else. So if you should be spending 3% or 5% on marketing, I know some specialty trades you're spending more like 7 to 10 or 12% on marketing. I know in the remodeling kind of custom building space, there's numbers that get tossed around, 1%, 3%, 5%. In theory, if you're not having to spend that and you're hitting your revenue targets, that should all drop to the bottom line for you. I would imagine that that's not the case. Those costs are just being absorbed. They're going somewhere else. And so your profitability isn't actually 3% higher or 5% higher. The other problem is what we've seen recently. And it's been really hard to watch. I've been getting on a lot of these calls lately with remodeling companies all over the country. And they're going, gosh, when COVID hit and all this stuff started happening, phone calls screeched to a halt, leads just dried up, and so if you think about not having a regular lead generation program and spending on marketing regularly, you're just completely relying on word of mouth and referral. You're really leaving your marketing and your sales funnel and your sales machine up to chance and hope and randomness, because it's really tough to control when people are going to refer you work. It's tough to control when they might share your name at the water cooler. And if everyone's on Zoom and they're remote, that's going to happen way less often. There's going to be less interactions for that opportunity to present itself. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think what unfortunately happened is that a lot of people hit the scenario, they hadn't been spending on marketing, and leads went to zero really quickly. And when I think about this type of business, we're in a project-based service business, which means if you're a $2 million a year company, every year to maintain that, you have to resell $2 million worth of work, which means you need the same number of leads that you had last year to hit that number. And if you want to grow, you need more leads, because if you're trying to get to 2.5, you need to step on the gas in terms of your marketing. And so when you think about just the fundamentals of the business, if you are always relying on word of mouth and referral, you could go to 2 million, you could go to 3 million, you could drop all the way to 1 the next year if you just don't resell that 3 million. And so maintaining those levels of revenue requires a consistent, repeatable marketing system. And if you do have a strong word of mouth and referral base, then this will add that additional stability to it, so that if you don't get as many referrals or you don't have as many people talking about you from one year to the next, you can lean on your marketing program to generate those leads. And so I just couldn't believe that, spending 0%, this was, a badge of honor. And I feel like right now we're hitting that kind of rude awakening of, well, maybe that wasn't really a badge of honor because of the impact it had. And so I think the good that is coming out of this situation, or part of the good, is that people are recognizing, hey, maybe there was a couple of holes in my system, and you can take the time to work on that. And obviously, as a company, we do marketing, we help people implement this, and we'd love it if people reached out and said, hey, can you help us with this? But even if you don't, you still should be spending on marketing. I'm not saying, hey, come spend it with us. I'm saying you should think about what your marketing program is, where you're spending those dollars, and dedicating part of your budget to that, a percentage of your revenue, or if you're trying to grow, a percentage of that forecasted revenue and where you're trying to get to is a good place to start, and saying, hey, I need to really reduce my reliance on hope and randomness and these other paths that are leading these prospects and leads to me, and I need to take ownership of how I can generate those. And once you do that, it opens up a world of opportunity. You start to get a lot more confident about your sales pipeline and hiring pipeline. If you need more people to do the work, and hey, I can lean on this system to produce the leads that are going to bring in the sales, and so I know I can make the plunge to hire that next person or invest in new equipment or whatever it may be that you're trying to do in your business. But if you don't really know what's coming down the pipeline, those can be scary moves to make, and they feel a lot riskier because there's a lot more unknown. And so my big takeaway from what I heard, and like I said in the beginning, I was pretty shocked, was really that if you don't have a regular marketing program and you don't have a budget, even if that budget is really small, and you're saying, this is all I can commit to now, but working towards building something into the plans that you're saying, hey, I'm committing to doing marketing, I'm committing to taking control of my own lead generation process, because that will give me the confidence to move forward. That will give me more predictability, and that is how you start to grow. So thanks, guys, for listening. I'd really appreciate if you sent me an email over at radio@builderfunnel.com. Let me know your thoughts on this. And I'm also curious, what are you guys budgeting for marketing? Is it 1%? Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 10? Where do you fall on that spectrum? I hear different numbers thrown out around the industry, and I'm always curious if that's reality, what people are recommending. And so would love to hear from you. Hit me up over email, radio@builderfunnel.com. You can also find me on Instagram over at builderfunnel, and go ahead and send me a DM. Let me know what you're spending on marketing, and maybe we'll do a quick poll over there too, and see if we can capture some real data, what's working for people. But either way, you should have something allocated to that, and you should be spending on marketing, because otherwise you're eventually going to hit a spot where it may be really tough to sustain your business. It may be really tough to grow. You might find yourself stalling out at certain levels. So anyway, let me know what you think, and I appreciate you guys listening. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time on Builder Funnel Radio.